All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you all for joining us today. We've got a lot of great content and we can't wait to get started. My name's Steve Winward and I'm a director at Microsoft Federal, leading our business applications team from a technical perspective. And we're going to share a couple of things with you all today. First, we are going to do is we're going to do just a community overview. So just to welcome those folks that have never joined this before, we'll just explain what is this webinar series, what are we all about. We also have some updates that we want to share with you specific to this community. And then the main session, which we're really excited about, is going to be how Nuance and Microsoft now work together. And what does that mean for federal employees and how can you all take advantage of that? All of this will be recorded, and at the end, what we're going to do is we will take it off of recording and allow people to come off of mute and to be able to ask questions. You can also ask questions live during the session too, and we will be moderating the chat. And if there is kind of a natural pause, we will be able to ask some of those questions while somebody's presenting as well. So feel free to use the chat as well. There's a lot of text here, but to summarize this, we just ask of everybody in this audience to be respectful of other people. If we feel you're not being respectful of other people in this audience, we do have the right to remove you from this session. So thank you ahead of time for doing that. Also, I just wanted to mention that we do collect your email. When you sign up for this event, we will collect your email address. And the reason we do that is so that we can follow up with you after this. So we'll record this session, we'll make it available on YouTube. And once it's available, we'll send that out to you afterwards so you can go back to watch it later. We'll also let you know about upcoming webinar events as well. So the next time that we have one, which will be in the September timeframe, we'll give you a heads up of when that's going to be, what the topic's going to be about, and so that you have an advanced heads up of how to sign up for that too. Now, I already mentioned this, but just from a Teams perspective, if you want to chat while we're presenting, please feel free to use the chat real time, and we'll be moderating that. We will save time at the end to take this off of recording, and then you can ask questions using our kind of raise hand feature inside of Teams to do that as well. Now, I mentioned that we are recording this. All of these recordings will be available on our GitHub repository, which link just to YouTube. So if you want to get there, you can go to aka.ms/fedba, and that's the easiest way to get to our GitHub repository, which then you can go to get to our webinar landing page to see all of the past sessions that we've had, as well as links to those on YouTube, so you can watch those later on demand as well. Now, we also are excited to announce that Microsoft Federal is hosting another hackathon all around business applications, specifically Power Platform on this one. The date is going to be in the November timeframe. We'll have more details coming out later, but we did want to share this with you all ahead of time. If you have any questions, you can reach out to this alias at fedmake@microsoft.com, and we'll put that in the chat right now. And we will be having more details around this later, but we wanted to give you kind of an advanced preview on what to expect. We've done one of these about a few months ago, had a number of different federal employees join this and build some really awesome use cases on top of our platform. And we're hoping to kind of take that to the next level with this one in the fall. And we'd love for you all in this audience to be part of that as well. So if you're interested, shoot a note to that email distribution and you can get some more details as we start planning more of this out. Now, this is going to be a little bit different from what we've done in the past. In the past, we would use this to talk about some feature updates specific to government clouds. And what I wanted to do this time was actually do kind of a recap of some of the highlights of what we've had so far for this series. So we've been meeting once a month since the December timeframe. We thought this was a cool opportunity to actually talk about what were some of the neat things that we've covered up until this point. First off, one of the ones that we did is we talked about how it's incredibly easy to migrate local access databases to the cloud. And you can do that literally in a matter of minutes, just configuring access to talk to the Power Platform into our cloud-based solution. And now you get all these great advantages of having this cloud-based versus local. You don't have to worry about maybe the file getting corrupt locally or something happens to your laptop and you've lost access to that access database that people are relying on. But it's very easy to get started. We know that in the federal space, there's lots of access databases out there. And if you want to leverage what you've already done, this is a great way to do that. We also had a great session by MERP Systems, and they actually showcased how they have a pre-built FOIA system that, so if you're a federal agency and you want to manage FOIA requests, they've already done the hard work for you. And there's a number of federal agencies live in production already using that system. And then we showed how extensible that solution is by adding something like Azure Cognitive Services on top of that to do PII redaction automatically. So if you're worried about sensitive information going out on a FOIA request, you could automate that process with something that we showed. This is available on one of the YouTube videos that we've already published in the webinar series. We also touched on how important accessibility is to us at Microsoft and everything that we build. So we are incredibly passionate about Section 508 conformance and being very transparent in terms of how do our products conform to Section 508. And so we showcased that in another session where we talked both with Canvas apps as well as model-driven apps and how you get accessibility out of the box with both of those solutions specific to the Power Platform. We also had a great session where we showed how can a team of developers actually work together with a team of low-code makers. We call that fusion development. Dave Milton at Microsoft did a fantastic job highlighting how you can work with the team of developers and low-code makers all together inside the platform. And then we also had an incredible session where somebody from Federal, so this was Josh Stillman, a CVP agent at DHS, actually showed a real-world example of how he built an application on the Power Platform and how that changed kind of their business. What was even cooler about that is that he was not a developer himself. So he learned this on his own and was able to build that and really build some really robust capabilities on top of the Power Platform. So if you haven't seen that one, definitely check that out. And then lastly, we also had a session all around the executive order for customer experience. And so I just wanted to remind you all, when you think of customer experience and modernizing that for the federal space, Team Nuance is going to be talking about that as well. But specific to some of the products for Power Platform and Dynamics, these are some of the products that can absolutely help modernize customer experience for both US citizens as well as federal employees. And specific to that, I wanted to just share one kind of story to that in terms of how you can think about these all working together. So let's say, for example, you have a support team at a federal agency. How would you manage the support tickets coming in? How would you do that? Well, the answer to that is Dynamics. And then let's say you want to take a step further. Now you want to enable self-service for people at your federal agency. Well, that's super easy because now you can embed something like a Power App inside of Teams, which people are already properly using at your agency to be able to submit self-service requests for. But then one day leadership says, well, what about reports and dashboards? How can we do that? Well, we have Power BI. And then you could say the question, well, okay, how do we know how we're doing in terms of resolving these tickets and helping people with what our support team is doing? Well, the answer to that is customer voice. And we have a great story there where we can actually collect metrics and ask people at the end of a case when it's resolved, how do we do? Are there things that we could do to improve? Are there other things that we haven't thought about? And so you can automate that as well. But then you could also say, well, what about public facing? What about US citizens, people that don't have access to our internal agency systems? How does that work? Well, we have Power Pages or portals, which is a secure public-facing application, once again, low code, that you could deploy so that any US citizen could interact with your agency and your mission and your business. You could also deploy something like a Power Virtual Agent chatbot so that they can use a chatbot to hopefully get information. If they don't, you could escalate to a live agent. And what we're going to show with Nuance is taking this a step further, right? And using some of the really awesome technologies that they have so that you could take the customer experience even to a whole different level. So we're really excited to hear about that. Specific to customer experience and kind of recapping the webinar series, we did do a great session. Avtex, one of our great partners, did a great summary of their view on customer experience and how they're actually helping the federal government and showed a live portal in action in production today, which was really cool. So definitely check that one out if you haven't seen that either. And then we also just wanted to throw this out there. If you want to see a topic that we haven't covered so far, please, we would love to hear your feedback on that. We've got a link here where you can go to submit requests, and we would be happy to take a look at that and see how we can get that into one of our next upcoming sessions. And now with all of that, I wanted to take a second to introduce Team Nuance, who's going to be covering what it is that they do and what they can offer in terms of really modernizing customer experience. So please, Team Nuance, please take it away.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Christopher McGuire. I'm a partner sales manager on the Nuance team. I'd like to welcome you today. My role is to help introduce clients to the joint Nuance and Microsoft solutions and to tell the story of how Nuance and Microsoft are better together. So thanks for joining us. After I share briefly, Carla and Al are going to walk you through a couple of the really great Nuance solutions that we have. As you may already know, Microsoft acquired Nuance earlier this year, which is exciting because Nuance and Microsoft share a really powerful and transformative vision. And that's to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. As we begin a new phase as a single organization, we're uniquely positioned to leverage trusted AI to address the biggest challenges in government, healthcare, financial services, retail, telco, and more, with industry and world-class specific AI backed by decades of domain experience, coupled with the scale and security and power of the Microsoft Cloud. We'll put advanced AI solutions into the hands of professionals everywhere to drive better outcomes, better decision-making, create more meaningful connections, and like I said, produce tangible outcomes. With Microsoft and Nuance, customers can leverage an innovative global AI platform built on an expansive cloud ecosystem. Whether it's using speech recognition software to help police officers, physicians, nurses, or caseworkers to document first time right, or leveraging AI to give customers a smooth and intuitive omni-channel engagement experience, Nuance and Microsoft are the solution leaders and trusted advisors when our clients need to achieve more. Together, we do more than 300 million patient stories a year. We do 50 billion chats annually and share 2 billion medical images, giving us a huge amount of high-quality verticalized data to accelerate the AI learning loop. The benefit you'll receive from reliable industry-specific data will expand and accelerate as we scale. So automated solutions continue to get smarter, and each touch point becomes more relevant and efficient. Contact center tasks and workflows ranging in complexity from routine conversations to sophisticated transactions can easily be automated using no-code, low-code, or pro-code experiences, or even a fusion experience like Steve talked about a few minutes ago. For us, better data means better AI, and that leads to better outcomes for you, our customers. Microsoft and Nuance truly are better together, and delivering better outcomes has never been easier. With that, I'll hand it over to Carla and to Al.
Hi, thank you, Chris. I am Carla Alford, Federal Account Executive on the Nuance government team. I've been with Nuance since 2009, and I have responsibility for accounts such as SSA, the IRS, HHS, and VA, to name a few. Today, I'm going to provide some background on Nuance conversational AI solutions and share some of the exciting work we were doing with the federal government. So Nuance is a global leader in conversational AI and ambient solutions. We help organizations all over the world to amplify their ability to help others. Nuance AI solutions transform the way we work, connect, and interact with each other every day. You've probably had an experience with Nuance every day, checking on your investments with Fidelity, maybe a claim status with Humana, flight times with American Airlines, package delivery status with FedEx, or maybe your cell phone plan with Verizon, or your insurance coverage with USAA. Nuance is everywhere. The Nuance AI-powered solutions amplify human intelligence across 85% of the Fortune 100 companies and 1,500 leading brands to deliver meaningful outcomes and superior customer experiences. For more than 20 years, Nuance has built deep domain expertise across key verticals, including healthcare, financial services, telecom, retail, and government. Here's an example of what Nuance can do to deliver intelligent citizen engagement.
Effortless, secure, omni-channel experiences. It's what citizens and businesses expect. With Nuance solutions for government, you can provide fast resolutions while controlling costs. Whether people reach out through your IVR or virtual assistant, AI-powered conversational self-service capabilities address their inquiries on first contact to boost containment. And when they need an agent, we help you reduce transfers and handle times, while biometric authentication verifies their identity to stop fraud before it happens. With Nuance Solutions, it's easy to engage and serve citizens like Peter. Peter wants to find a park with a playground nearby and calls 311. As the IVR provides an answer, he realizes their newborn needs to be added to their food assistance account. So the IVR transfers him to the DSHS office. As he speaks with the agent, his voice is seamlessly authenticated. With Peter's identity verified, the agent guides him through the process. Peter has just crossed 2 items off his to-do list. Our proven AI and biometric security give your citizens a consistent omni-channel experience that can be deployed in the cloud or on premises. Nuance Solutions for Government, delivering the cost-effective, seamless experiences citizens expect.
So as you can see from that video, we are transforming customer experiences with AI-first intelligent engagement, automation, and security solutions that surround customers and brands with intelligence and personalized service that from first contact to the resolution. Using this AI approach, Nuance customers are achieving incredible outcomes, from improvements in customer and agent experience into reductions in cost and increase in revenue. Even better, our clients have implemented an AI-first approach across multiple moments in the customer journey and across channels, and they are receiving more awarded for customer service, realize even greater cost savings, and outperform their peers on revenue growth. This includes the highest rankings in their countries in J.D. Power Awards, in NPS scores, or earning Stevie Awards. They've achieved up to 20% additional containment and higher reductions in average handle time, while outperforming the peers with over 2 times in revenue growth. Nuance Solutions deliver measurable outcomes. So next, Al Macy is going to show you how the Nuance portfolio of intelligent customer engagements transforms citizen services.
Thanks, Carla.
Al?
So hello, everyone. My name is Al Macy, as you know now, and I am a principal solutions engineer with Nuance. Today, I'm going to talk about our intelligent engagement platform and solutions and the APIs and engines that help us build solutions on it. And I'm going to show you a couple of examples of some citizen experiences that can be built around fairly sophisticated interactions, but that can be made greatly simplified using a conversational approach. So as you can see here, we have a long list of available solutions related to customer engagement and different associated technologies that agents might use for those engagements as well, but they're built off of a series of microservices, APIs, and engines. And those engines can be leveraged in Power Apps. They can be leveraged through Power Automate tools. You'll see examples of where we're leveraging other Azure services in these experiences as well. So when we talk about this set of features, we're really expanding it tremendously by giving us access to all these other Azure services and Power applications as well. So today, these experiences that I'm going to show are going to discuss messaging and proactive engagement. That's us reaching out to someone instead of them coming to us first. We're going to talk about conversational voice solutions and how those have evolved a little bit over time. We're going to touch on our authentication solution Gatekeeper, which allows us to do voice-based biometric authentication. And of course, all of these things are built on these engines that I will talk to a little bit as well. And even though we won't be discussing it today, Nuance does have a professional services organization that has implemented all of the solutions that Carla just mentioned to you, from USAA to Fidelity to the IRS. And I'm only going to talk about a little bit about some of the things they can do around this design perspective, but there is a whole PS organization out there ready to help you guys as well. All right, so with that, let's just talk about the evolution of these voice applications and where we think we are today. Most of us have interacted, well, I assume all of us probably have interacted with some kind of a voice application. And in many cases, it's been, a touch tone experience. If you recall, most older banking applications, it was press 1 for your balance, press 2 to make a payment, that kind of thing. These solutions are heavily menu driven, which limits the amount of things you can allow a customer to do before the menus become too cumbersome. So these are all examples from a utility company. And I'm going to play this first one. And I just want you to note it's a 36-second menu just to get to what this person wants to get to.
Thanks for calling Florida Power and Light. To report a life-threatening emergency, like a wire down or pole on fire, press 1. Otherwise, for your account balance, press 2. For payments, press 3. To start service, press 4. To stop service, press 5.
And I'll stop it right there. So in this case, you can see where when we have to read out multiple menu options, the menus become longer, and then the citizen is now engaged for a longer period of time in that channel. We evolved that to allow people to use their voice because not everyone always has a touchpad available to them. But while this is helpful, it extends the time frame for the menu almost to twice. So you can see that to get through that same process is over a minute in this scenario. So to resolve that, since we could start recognizing voices, we said, well, let's just try to get the specific phrases people need to say and remove all this press or say stuff and just give them a few options. And so I'm going to play this directed dialogue for you so that you can hear what it sounds like. This one, it takes less time by about 10 seconds than the DTMF option.
Thanks for calling Florida Power and Light. To report a life-threatening emergency, like a wire down or pole on fire, say emergency. Otherwise, say account balance, payments, start service, stop service, or more options.
I need to make a payment.
All right, so there's an example of where we still have a limited number of menu options, and so we can't easily extend this past a certain amount of them without these menus becoming too cumbersome. So the way to resolve that is through what we call natural language understanding. That allows a citizen to tell us what they need to do in their own words and then route them either to the right application or to the right agent skill set. This means that we can now create menus that ask one question and listen for a variety of possible things that someone can say. And as a result, we can get that first experience down to 10 to 15 seconds right up front for someone to get to what they need. It removes all these menus and stuff. Now that is really useful, this natural language understanding thing, but we've always had, up until we came out with the conversational IVR approach, a little bit of issue trying to put NLU in more than one place. It was a technology that required a lot of tuning, and oftentimes you had to have a lot of processing power to get to do more than just the front menu. But now we've addressed that, and the experiences I'm going to show are going to show you conversational experiences where there is natural language understanding throughout the entire process of the call, and that allows a citizen to do things like change the entire context of what they're doing in the middle of it without having to go back to a main menu. So with that, we're going to start with, right before I get there, when we look at the landscape of federal agencies and their contact centers and where their voice applications live, the vast majority of them are somewhere in this kind of press or say or DTMF scenario. Some of the larger agencies like IRS have embraced a conversational IVR approach. You can see Department of Education and SSA have embraced an NLU type of approach, but most agencies are still back in this technology somewhere. So with that, let's start off with our first citizen experience. This is an experience where Sam, who's a US citizen, just moved, and he wants to change his address. Now, change of address is, for the SSA, a particularly sophisticated issue because there's a lot of security that needs to be handled around it. But changing an address is the first step to committing fraud for a fraudster. So when we go through this process, we want to make sure it's authenticated and validated. So I'm going to play it, and then I'll walk through what we just saw when I get done.
Thank you for calling Social Security. How can I help you today?
I just moved and I need to give you my new address.
Okay, I can change your address. This is for Sam, right?
Yep, that's correct.
Great, I've verified your voice print and I see you're calling from your phone number on file, so you're securely authenticated. Go ahead and tell me your new address.
1108 23rd Avenue South, Falls Church, Virginia, 22046.
Let me read that back. I heard 1108 23rd Avenue South, Falls Church, Virginia, 22046. I've also texted it to you so you can verify it. Is that address correct?
Yes.
Thanks, and do you want that to take effect immediately?
Yes.
All right, just a minute while I update your records. You're all set, I've updated your address. Can I do anything else for you?
I would also like to talk to someone about my benefits.
Okay, I'm happy to transfer you to an agent to discuss your benefits. Please do not hang up.
All right, so just to review what we just saw in this particular demonstration. Let me start here.
Calling Social Security.
All right, so when Sam calls in, because in this scenario, we can determine what phone number Sam's calling from, we can potentially use that to look up something on a back end in a dynamics environment, for example, to get some information about Sam. And in this particular case, since Sam has dealt with the Social Security Administration before, he has enrolled his voice for authentication. So we have an identification, his number, his phone number, and he's given us some speech that we can process to see if it matches that voice print on file. And so we can securely authenticate him based off of his just having a passive conversation with us. Now, he's immediately given us an intent saying, he wants to change his address. So we know that's what he's trying to do. And so we can go into a dialogue that allows him to do that. And with the modern machine learning algorithms that we have today for these kind of conversational solutions, we have a refined grammar for super easy address collection. In the past, you might have had to say a street number, then a street name, then a street direction, and so on and so forth through sort of a more linear turn-based process. Now we can let you say your address however you want to say it. And then just to make sure it's a good address, we could leverage additional services like Azure Maps to make sure it's a valid address. And if it's not, we can ask Sam to clarify it, right? Now, in this case, we've also used a proactive engagement platform to send out SMS notifications to Sam so we can confirm these things. And he can verify that what he said and what we read visually also looks correct as well. And then finally, as we go through this process, Sam then wants to escalate to an agent, so we can certainly collect that new intent about something related to benefits and route him to the right agent skill set. All right. Now, with that, I'd like to go into another experience, but in this scenario, I'm using myself as the taxpayer, and in this case, I got a letter of notice from the IRS saying that I owed them some money. Okay, so I will be calling in to discuss this with them and deal with it, and the IRS is going to be able to make a prediction about why I'm calling in and actually start the routing process for me to resolve it without me having to say it. Just confirm it. And so this experience will show an example of how when the federal government is reaching out to a citizen, if that interaction is recorded in a dynamics environment, we can query that environment and say, did we recently contact this citizen for some reason? And if so, let's ask them if that's why they're calling. And you can actually see this kind of technology in use. For example, if you're ever going to submit or take something into Best Buy and get something fixed by the Geek Squad, they use this kind of prediction stuff for when you call them about that stuff. All right, so here we go.
Thanks for calling the IRS. Is this Mr. Macy?
Yes.
Are you calling about a collections letter you recently received?
Yeah, I got a letter that says I owe taxes.
Okay, I can help with that. I just need to collect some information first. Can you confirm the amount due from the letter?
It's $1,203.
Thanks. I have used your voice to verify your identity. One moment while I look up the details of your tax record. Thanks for reaching us to resolve your outstanding tax balance due, Mr. Macy. Would you like to make a one-time payment for $1,203.00?
No thanks, I can't afford that. Can I make some kind of payment arrangement?
Sure, I can help with that. Based on the amount owed, you can apply for either a short-term or long-term payment plan. Individual payment plans accrue interest and penalties until the balance is paid in full. Would you like to apply for a short-term or long-term payment plan?
What's the difference?
Short-term payment plans can be set up for amounts up to $100,000 and incur no setup fees. Short-term payment plans can be as long as 180 days. To make payments, you pay directly from a checking or savings account, electronically online or by phone, or by check, money order, or debit card. Fees apply when paying by card. Long-term payment plans can be set up for amounts up to $50,000 and are installment plans greater than 180 days. You can pay via direct deposit installment agreement, electronically online or by phone, or via check, money order, or debit or credit card. Fees apply when paying by card. Would you like to apply for a short-term or long-term payment plan?
Can I do short-term for 3 months?
According to our records, you have filed all required returns and are eligible for a short-term payment plan. Would you like to set up a direct debit payment plan?
Yes, but make it a 6-month plan.
Okay. Just to verify, you would like to create a short-term, 180-day payment plan with direct debit from checking account ending in 0007 from Summit Credit Union. Is this correct?
Yes.
Thank you. I have created a 6-month short-term payment plan to resolve your $1,203 balance due. During this 6-month period, your balance due will continue to accrue interest and penalties. Your monthly payments are calculated to be $212.53, including interest and penalties. Your first payment will be debited on June 18, 2022, and then continue monthly with the final payment on November 18, 2022. Is there anything else I can help you with?
No thanks.
Thank you for contacting the Internal Revenue Service, Mr. Macy. If you have any additional questions or concerns, please visit irs.gov or feel free to call us back. Goodbye.
So just to quickly recap that experience, that was a very conversational experience where, as a taxpayer, and I call in and want to make a payment plan, you could see that I was allowed in the middle of that whole process to do things like change the duration of the plan. It automatically looked up information about me and saw that it had a bank account information for me. So it made the assumption that I might want to use that one and asked. And then I just said yes. So I didn't have to give it a whole set of a bunch of information. In addition to that, when I wanted to find out the difference between short-term and long-term payment plans, I could ask that question in the middle of the self-service process, and then it just kicked it out to a frequently asked questions scenario and gave me that answer and then put me back into the payment process. So with the conversational design, we can build these kinds of very open experiences that allow a taxpayer or a citizen to just use their own words and have the experience they want to have. And it's not that challenging to do. The beauty of the platform that I'm about to discuss is it's open and it allows us to do things like consume these other Azure services. So for example, for FAQs, we can use custom question answering from Azure Cognitive Services to leverage FAQs you already have on your website and make that into content we can deliver through a voice channel. The voices that were used in these experiences were all Microsoft neural net voices that had zero tuning done to them. It was literally just, here's the output that I need to have, here's the things that are going to be said, and put them in, and that's what they sound like. So with these neural net voices, it will greatly shrink the amount of time it typically takes us to have to tune these prompts. So how do we build these things? The first thing is Nuance has a pro code platform called Nuance Mix that's available at mix.nuance.com. And this is what was used to engineer these experiences that you just saw. It has two main components. The first one allows you to develop natural language models. And we already provide verticals for a number of industries for that. But it also has a discovery tool that will let you take content you already have or interactions you've already transcribed from citizens and use that to create new NLU models off of data you own already. And then once you've done that, you can take those different things that people say, map them to some intention, something they're trying to do, and use that to drive them to a mixed dialogue. And a dialogue is essentially a call flow that is built off of pre-built widgets and some back-end data integration that you can engineer if you'd like to, that allows you to create conversational flows. And it does things like allow you to ask a question and allow a person to give you answers in any order they want, and then just go back and ask for the things you didn't get yet. So, we have a very robust tool here, and it's all managed by a dashboard that has role-based access and leverages things like Azure Active Directory and that kind of stuff. This tool set is going to be directly integrated to the Power Platform and vice versa, so that when you're creating Power VA tools using that load pro code platform, and you need to escalate to a voice channel or offer some kind of natural language functionality, it will be there for you in the Power Tools. Or if you are in the Mix tool set and want to throw out a quick chatbot or leverage something like Power Automate to handle some workflow scenarios, that stuff will be integrated into the Mix tool set as well. So we can then rapidly build, but then also start extending all of these things with the other Power Platform apps. And when it's all said and done, report on it using Power BI across the entire landscape. This all leads into what Microsoft just recently announced with the Digital Contact Center platform. On the left-hand side, there's a lot of different ways that citizens can engage with us. And when we capture those things, sometimes we just need to get them to the right agent at the right time. But in many cases, there might be an option for that citizen to self-serve. And with all of these tools together, with Power VA and the Nuance Mix tools together, we can allow those citizens to engage us how they want to engage us, and then self-serve how they need to self-serve. And if they can't do that, then Dynamics provides an intelligent routing solution so that we can make sure we get that citizen to the right agent at the right time. And then when they get there, make sure the agent can treat them effectively using things like agent assist tools and then the Dynamics 365 environment to really help them serve that particular citizen. And then finally, when we want to extend that through the enterprise into our other tool sets, we will already have been integrated to use Power BI and Power Apps and Power Automate. This is a very exciting future for both Nuance and Microsoft, but it's even more exciting, I think, for our customer base, who's now going to have a cloud solution that they can use to address, what is typically a landscape of tough architecture spread across a lot of data centers with a number of different providers in play. And with that, I will now hand it back over to Carla so that she can just kind of go over a quick federal market overview.
Sure. Thank you, Al. So now we're going to wrap this up by giving you a brief overview of the federal market, customers, and partners. Our target market are the agencies that have been identified by OMB as high-impact service providers due to the scale and impact of their public-facing services. These include some of the largest contact centers in the nation: IRS, SSA, CMS, and the VA. These agencies are tasked by OMB to deliver an annual enterprise-wide customer experience capacity assessment and action plan, and they're focused on improvement efforts. We realize this is a big lift and requires modernization in nearly every federal contact center. So, in a recent poll by Forrester, citizen satisfaction with federal government services continued a 4-year plummet and dropped to an all-time low score of 63% in 2021. So the pressures of the pandemic certainly, I think, contributed to that. So the government is they're actively seeking solutions powered by AI to help deliver on the president's management agenda to deliver excellent, equitable, and secure federal services and customer experience. And remember, Nuance is exceptional at helping our customers achieve measurable results. We would very much look forward to the opportunity to collaborate with you, and the federal partner community recognizes the opportunity as well as ready to engage. The Nuance government teams, we sell through partners 100% of the time. This is a list of some of the partners that we most frequently engage with. The EIS contract probably represents the single largest contract that we utilize, but prime contract holders include Verizon and AT&T, both of which we work with very frequently, but we have an entire ecosystem of partners we can work with based on your agency's requirements. So that ends our presentation for today. Thank you for the time to taking the time to get to know Nuance. We're very excited to work with you and look forward to engaging on new opportunities this year. Please don't hesitate if you'd like to collaborate on what conversational AI and intelligent engagement might look like for your agency. we'd be happy to help.